Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Level Up Luke, and what you're about to hear is an extra special double episode of our Twitter Spaces post game that we do. These are rough sessions, they are not polished podcasts that you can normally expect from us, but I was joined on both of these by my QCS Pod co host, Cole Godfrey. We had a number of other guests jump in and share their thoughts and opinions with us. So the first section of this is going to be last night's post game Twitter Spaces on the result of the Columbus Crew match, where Charlotte FC emerged victorious 2-0 in one of the worst displays of officiating that many fans have ever seen. It was really one for the books, but we have some thoughts and opinions, some adult language. Some beverages may have been consumed at French Quarter by myself after the game. So bear with us. I hope you have some fun listening to it. And join us next time. You can find me on Twitter at LVLUP_Luke. I host these Twitter spaces. I try to do at least one or two a week. And it's just like hanging out with your friends at the bar. That's the way I think about it. Without any further ado, I will kick it over to myself from last night. And stay tuned after the spaces for a special bonus, the U.S. Open Cup first round Twitter spaces from last Thursday. I packaged that together at the end here. Little special double episode. You can find us on Twitter at QCS Pod, on YouTube at QCS Pod, and on Insta at QCS Pod _.
Tell me what you saw in the first half, Joe, and then I'm going to turn it over to Cole, who was in the press box.
Well, uh, that was the worst, wildest, craziest MLS match I've ever watched. The refereeing was absolutely horrendous and abysmal. The first half. I, what is there to say, right? The red card on Derek. Listen, I wanted to win this match, but that was a really soft call. At best, it should have been a yellow, if that at all, considering they were both going for the ball. And let's go to the fact that Breck needed to finish the chance that he had in the box. He just got tangled up under his own feet. And that should have been a goal afterwards, but then that gets called off. And let's talk about the fact that we haven't had anybody who could score a PK at all lately, and that extends down to Crown Legacy, because they weren't able to score a PK the other day either, which cost them the game against South Carolina Heat. And to be honest with you, I think we looked slow all match. Never mind just the first half. Going into the second, I don't think we really picked up any good movement until the last 5-10 minutes of the game.
I mean, Dean was very adamant in the press conference afterwards, as far as the penalty goes, that, it's just, what do you do next? It's what do you do next? What do you do next? That was echoed several times. As far as how they discuss who takes the penalties, he said that it's really based on who's in training, who's doing really well. And he said that Tavares was doing really well in training. He said his form was really good in training, hitting his penalties. And then as far as the first half, it was echoed by Dean, by Patrick, Westwood. They all, kind of had the same sentiment that this was a very bizarre game, specifically in the first half, playing 62 minutes in the first half. I mean, every one of them said, I've never done that before. I've never even seen that before. So the referee, I hate that the referee is always a topic of conversation when it seems like we play, but it just is what it is. Every game, I agree with Joe. I don't think that Derek Jones' his red card was a red card. I mean, honestly, I would, as a ref myself, I wouldn't even have given it a yellow card. But it is what it is. I'm excited that we got the 2-0 win. We stay undefeated at home this season, and I think it goes back to 16 games last season where we have been unbeaten. So, it's hard to complain. Obviously, Ashley Westwood's banger in the second half was just phenomenal. And then Patrick opening his account, and just a few minutes later, you could tell that the pressure. That's what Dean said in the after the press conference was, when the final whistle went, it was just relief, and when Ashley Westwood scored, it was just relief as they're over, their sentiment, because they knew, you're playing against 10 men, which it is more difficult to break down because they're going to sit back and play that low block, but you're playing against 10 men, you're expected to win definitely at home, and they got the job done.
I will say that when the player was down and Derek Jones was about to get the red card, they were huddled over by my sideline, and I yelled out from the stands, "Derek Jones, DJ, I fucking love you. We all love you here in Charlotte, and you should come back to us." And then they gave him a red card. So, it is what it is.
Yeah, and again, I was jokingly put on Twitter earlier, that was his he was playing the long game for Charlotte. He still loves Charlotte, so he's playing the long game to get the red card to take Columbus down to 10 men. But
I've never seen a player get dapped up as they leave the field from a red card by the opposing team. I've never seen that, but I love it.
yeah, and again, it obviously changed the whole dynamic of the game. I agree with Joe. Even when they were down to 10 men, we did look a little bit slower than Columbus. But hey, man, with the 10 men that Columbus had on the pitch, this is the let's not forget, this is the reigning MLS Cup champions. This was the hottest team in MLS coming in tonight. So you're still playing. Obviously, they were missing Aiden Morris. They're missing their starting goalkeeper, but you're still playing Cucho's on the field, man. So, and realistically, like I said, I was in the press box, so I didn't really get a good feel on whether or not he was offsides or not. Maybe Joe or Luke or somebody else can speak to that. I didn't really get a good feel for that, but I'm glad it was called offsides, because as soon as I seen it, I was like, "Oh, Cucho's about to bury this," and that's exactly what happened. So,
All right, well, we got a 2-0 win. How does it feel as Charlotte FC fans, despite all the controversy, to maintain our record against past champions when they come to business at home?
I don't know how long I've been on the thing and not be able to hear, but I'm happy we got a win, but that is not a performance that we can be proud of. I don't know what it is about us, but we cannot finish to save our life, and that is very concerning. I think I'm not so much concerned about like Dean Smith's tactics. I think Dean Smith's tactics fit very well for this team. I just don't think he's been given the players he needs in order to take this team to the next level, and that is very concerning for me.
yeah, I'll have to agree with you, Brett. Obviously, you can't miss that. You cannot miss that sitter. It's just it's inexcusable. But again, what Dino said in the press conference afterwards was, it's always how do you react? What's next? What's next? So Brecht, we've been critical of Brecht on the show. Uh, again, you missed the sitter. I don't know. I don't think it was a foul on Patrick in the box, the one that Deani put away that was called off for a foul. I don't believe that it was a foul. Like I said, I couldn't really
It was
see.
nowhere near a foul. It was not even close to a foul.
Yeah, so I couldn't really see that, but regardless, before all that shit happened, Breck should have put it away. It should have been 1-0 right there, and that should have been. We shouldn't have been going into the 82nd minute waiting on a goal and waiting for Ashley Westwood to volley home another goal. And like Coach Smith said in the presser afterwards, it's very. You don't have to tell Brecht, "Hey man, what are you doing there?" Brecht knows. My 10-year-old son who plays soccer, if he missed that, he would be down on himself. And the same thing with Tavares missing the penalty at the end of the half. It's just one of those things. It's like, well, we got to find a penalty taker. We got to find somebody. If it's Enzo, if it's Ashley Westwood, or whoever it may be, we got to find somebody who can step up and take penalties and put it in the back of the net, because right now for both teams, Charlotte and Crown Legacy, it's putrid to say the least. And again, that's with the caveat that we were at, we asked Ashley and we asked Dino as well, what, how do you figure out who's going to take a penalty for you? And both of their answers were, it's whoever's got the best form in training that week when they take penalties. And he said that Tavares was his form in training all week, taking penalties was phenomenal. That he was making really clean hits. And but yeah, I mean that we got to speak to the man of the match, Deani, after the game. Dino had very high praise for him in the press conference. What was y'all's take on Deani's full debut at Bank of America?
I thought he was instrumental to our win. I think he can have an impact on this team as much as Ashley Westwood did last year. I think he is going to be a very crucial part in Charlotte FC's season this year.
Yeah, I have to agree. He looked fantastic tonight. Watching from home. What I'd like to see, what I'm going to be interested in seeing now is hopefully we should be expecting Abada on the pitch next week. And hopefully Copetti will be back also. And this isn't a knock on Pat, but I think we'll see Enzo back next week, hopefully, because he was listed as questionable for tonight, and then they switched it to out. So he's probably still nursing that injury. But I think next week, although we're facing Cincinnati, I think we can have a much more dynamic attack. We have Deani's been in a couple of matches already. He's had a bunch of practices with the team. He looks pretty comfortable, and we'll also have Yeri back for a full match. And he honestly, Yeri's been our best player the whole season so far. So I'd like to see us with a full complement of players next week and see how we do.
I mean, honestly, Cincinnati who? I mean, we beat Columbus. We have nothing to worry about from Cincinnati, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I will say, like Luke said, Luke has been indulging. I got to but yeah, I do agree with him that we have a very good chance, and I agree with you, Joe, as well, that we're going to be having some pieces. Whether Abada starts or whether he just comes in, as a super sub in the second half, regardless. And again, the caveats there, I understand it was just 10 men, but you got a 2-0 win. You're sitting on 7 points. You found a way to win when obviously the missed chances after missed chances, the ref being as bad and atrocious as he was, look, you got to come back and say, hey, look, we're going to come back next week and we're going to defend the fortress again. And again, I think that I agree that Deani's going to be instrumental. I'm starting to get a little concerned about Brecht even more than I was. But I think Kerwin stepped up and had a great game tonight, and that was echoed by Dean as well in the press conference. It was asked, about Kerwin's performance, definitely been in a boot just a couple of days ago, and he said, yeah, in the last couple of days in training, he was a full go and he looked good, so we went with him. And yeah, Kerwin was balling out tonight. This was the Kerwin that we seen at the end of the last season.
I mean, I can't help but think that was a little bit of gamesmanship because I dapped up Kerwin after the game, and he was walking just fine. He looked fly as hell, and he had an amazing game. So, huge shout out to Kay. I mean, that dude absolutely put it on tonight, and I'm proud as hell for him.
Yeah, I agree. And but I'm seeing a lot of Columbus Crew fans completely embarrassing themselves. Yes, we can all agree that the ref was garbage and some questionable, to to say the least, some questionable calls were made.
Anti-Charlotte wise, for sure.
Yeah, but they're saying they lost that game because of the ref. That is complete bull.
Bro, the
The
only
last time,
reason they were in that game was because of the ref. That's the
yes,
only reason they were even in the game.
yes. The one thing I will give them is that the offsides call, I don't know what that camera angle was. I don't know how the hell they decided to
Same.
take off that goal. But the red card, I'm honestly kind of torn on because I watch a lot of Premier League and Champions League. I have seen that exact same scenario be given a red card every single time it happens. I'm a Manchester United fan.
Were you watching live or on TV broadcast?
I was on broadcast. I'm in Germany right now, so that's the only way I can watch it.
Oh, in
Um,
person in the stadium. I didn't see anything, dude.
so Derek Jones, and Diani are both going to the ball. Derek Jones comes in kind of studs up and like literally steps on Diani's sort of like upper ankle area. So it's honestly, I don't think it should be a red card, but by the letter of the law, it is. And I've seen those given in Premier Leagues, Champions League. I'm a Manchester United fan, so
Just like a carelessness kind of red card.
yeah, kind of. Yeah, pretty much. It shouldn't be a
Yeah.
red
All right.
card, but it was.
Yeah, I mean, because of the lack of intent, I mean, it seems like a yellow to me, but they went to VAR, and from what I've seen this year with replacement refs, they don't go to VAR unless like the broadcast is telling them to overturn it. So it didn't surprise me once it went to VAR that it was a red card. But I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah. But
Yeah, and
the ref did
like
not have
Ash,
anything to. Sorry.
no, you're good,
But
man.
go ahead.
So what I was gonna say, yeah, so what I was gonna say is, like I said earlier, I think it was the chunk that you missed. I was watching from the press box, and watching it like from the press box, to me, it didn't look like a red. I didn't see the studs go in, or I didn't see like a close up or anything like that. It was just real life, real moment thing. Um, but I will say this: the way I look at it is he was on for 5 minutes or so. It's his first foul um, in the game. I mean, to me, if you give anything, you give a yellow for sure. But to go straight red, I thought was a bit harsh. Now, don't get it twisted. I am not complaining whatsoever. Send them off. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it helps us out tremendously. But yeah, I mean, just I know you said you missed that part, and that was just my point of view from the press box. I could, but I also didn't have the benefit of watching it on TV to where you could see multiple angles of it either.
Yeah, it's kind of like one of those things where referees decide whether it's a red card based on a freeze frame and slow motion. And the point a lot of people makes is that slow motion and freeze frame makes it seem worse, like 10 times worse than it is in reality. That's what's happening with like a lot of Premier League red cards. Referees base it off of like one frame or slow mo. So yeah, it's very similar to like other leagues, and so that's why I'm sort of like, yeah, it's maybe a bit harsh, but it's still technically by the letter of the law a red card.
Yeah, and I mean, again, I'm not going to complain about it. It brought them down to 10 men for the majority of the game. And yeah, I mean, a 62-minute first half, you miss a sitter, you miss a penalty. But to come out with a 2-0 win, I have no complaints whatsoever.
I will say though that for the Columbus fans that are complaining about us being gifted the game or anything, they're not looking at the game stats because two things that they are missing is we got fouls called on us 27 times as opposed to 13 for Columbus. And we also got 6 yellow cards, and Columbus only got 3. So, yeah, even though I think that the red was harsh, and obviously it did impact the game, I mean, I think it was called a little one-sided in favor of Columbus, if anything,
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree with that 100%. It seemed like anytime there was contact, no matter how minuscule, it was called. I mean, it was the dude in the second half specifically, he was handing out yellow cards, just a ridiculous amount of yellows for anything. Um, Again, I was concerned in the first half actually getting a yellow card. I think that's his third one for going at. I mean, just talking to the ref, and
Is that what he
I
got a
was
yellow
concerned.
card for? Talking to the ref? Because
Yeah, yeah. So he essentially he was trying to say, hey, this is a foul. I don't know specifically what was said to make him brandish the yellow, but whatever it was bad enough, I guess, in the ref's mind to show the yellow. So, and me and Luke have talked about it on the podcast. When you're the captain of the team, That's your responsibility to go to bat for your team, and you are the spokesman for your team to the ref, and the ref should understand that. But that's the third one this season that Westwood's got for talking to the ref, and I was concerned going into that second half. And even Jess Sharman, when she come out of the broadcast booth, she that was the first thing she said to me was, I'm concerned about actually getting a red in the second half. I think he needs to come out, and luckily it didn't happen. I think he minded his P's and Q's, and thank God, because he hit the volley to put us up 1-0. But yeah, I mean, it was just, again, I hate that the refereeing has to be the topic of conversation, whether it's a loss or a win, but unfortunately it is. And nobody asked Dean in the press conference after the game about the refereeing. Ashley pretty much said that he wasn't going to comment on it. Nobody really asked Patrick or Deani. But yeah, I mean, we all know, they know, and we all know that there's supposedly another agreement that's laid out before the pro refs. I'm on record for saying that the pro refs are garbage as well, but this is pretty bad, man. The past 2 weeks specifically, it's been as bad as I've seen in quite some time.
Yeah, I completely agree. Like, I'll be the first to admit I have never held back when it comes to criticizing pro referees, because they have made some shockingly abhorrent calls in the past, especially when it comes to us. But this is on a whole nother level that I have never seen it in even Sunday league games in England have
Yeah,
better
yeah,
referees than this. It is absolutely ridiculous. And I think the biggest conclusion we can come from this is Don Garber is a piece of shit.
yeah. Yeah, and I mean that's all the way around, right? That's with the refs. That's with the U.S. Open Cup. That's it's just Don Garber. The best thing for MLS, in all seriousness, would probably be for him to leave MLS. But
Absolutely.
obviously, I mean, when it comes to money, we talked about it on the this past week's episode with Sam from the U.S. Open Cup or the Cup.US Open, and he essentially that's what it comes down to for the U.S. Open Cup. That's what it comes down to the refs. That's what it comes down. Anytime there's billionaires involved or multi-millionaires involved, it's always you just follow that money, and there's where your issues are going to lie. You don't care about growing the game. You don't care about, you don't care about grassroots leagues. It's very obvious. The U.S. Soccer, you don't care about what we have going on in the United States. Is you care about your pocketbook, and not saying that the pro refs would do significantly better, dude. I'm gonna be honest with you. The worst ref I've ever seen is Ted Uncle, and Ted Uncle is as bad as, if not worse, than these refs that we've had the past couple of weeks.
I just want to bring up a point that I actually haven't seen anybody on the spaces or anywhere else on Twitter bring up. How lucky we are that Scotty Arfield was our only injury scare tonight. Oh, how I don't know why Tepper thinks that keeping artificial turf is a good idea. I mean, we saw how many injuries Columbus had today, and I just can't help but
Yeah.
think how lucky we are that we didn't have either Westwood or Malonda go down with a turf-related injury, because that could have easily happened and just completely derailed not even just this game, but maybe the entire season.
Well,
Yeah,
I mean,
and I
I
mean
thought it
it
was.
goes back.
Hey, Cole, I thought it was really interesting last season when they asked Messi if he'd play on turf. He said, "Well, we practice on turf. We played on turf as juniors. We have a lot of experience playing on turf." I think that all players have a certain level of comfort playing on turf in the modern era. So, I mean, I don't know, man. That's just one perspective, but I thought that was interesting to hear
Well,
last year.
no, I mean, I think I tend to agree with Ash. I think that yes, these players play on turf. They practice on turf. That is true. While that is, make no mistake, that is true. At the end of the day, though, playing on grass, playing on sod is significantly safer for the players, and you can I mean, that's all around the world, no matter the sport. That's in football. That's in American football, world football, it doesn't matter. It's significantly safer. And my biggest issue with it is he, again, it goes back to a multimillionaire in David Tepper. For him, it's a very low cost, low maintenance thing to have turf, rather than to have to upkeep and maintain sod throughout soccer season, or it's all year long, because you're going to have soccer and you're going to have the Panthers. So, but at the same time, if colleges can do it, you can do it. You're just choosing not to because it's the cheaper route. And I'm not saying, hey, look, man, it would cost millions to upkeep a grass surface year round, and not just in the actual maintenance of it. You got to think of employees and all that. I get all that, but it's what's safe and what's best for the team. So I see both sides of the coin. Yes, you practice on it. It shouldn't be that big of a deal playing on it in theory, but I do think that it's just safer to play on
Well,
grass.
Cole, just to add to what you're saying, if you add up all of the player dollars that are being spent on paying players while they're out injured due to turf-related injuries, right? Because it's
yeah,
not just us; it's the Panthers also, right?
yep.
So when you add all that up, does that make it worth it? I guess one Beyonce concert a year is worth it. I guess is that what the message is to the players?
That's
I,
Yeah, I mean, again, it comes back to money. I mean, it just does. I mean, and when you have the likes of George Strait, Luke Combs, Morgan Wallen, Beyonce, at this venue, and how much money that's going to bring in, on top of having Charlotte FC, on top of having the Carolina Panthers, it just to me it just comes. If you always, no matter what it is, in any organization, whether it doesn't matter. People are going to make decisions based off of monetary gain at the end of the day. It just is. It shouldn't be that way, but it is. I mean, the U.S. Soccer Federation, the Brazilian, soccer federation, football federation. It doesn't matter. They're going to make decisions based on, monetary gain, and it is what it is. We have to. Unfortunately, we do have a turf field, and at the end of the day, realistically, it should give us an advantage playing on that when teams come in that don't play on it regularly. It should give us an advantage in theory.
I also want to add on to the point of like what kind of message does this send to the players? I completely agree, and I think it just rubs salt on the wound when Tepper brings in like Chelsea to come play against us, or a Premier League preseason game, or whatever he has playing, or the Copa America, and he switches it to grass for those games, but then takes it back to turf for the rest of us, and that's basically saying, I care more about these other clubs than I do about my own player safety. I mean, what the fuck is he thinking? That's why
Well,
I
dude,
can't remember. It was like some sort of survey that Carolina Panthers players don't believe that Tepper is willing to invest money.
Ash, let me jump in. It was 100% of surveyed Carolina Panthers players said that they felt that the team did not care about their health and safety because they refused to install a grass surface.
Yes,
100% of surveyed players.
yeah, that is exactly what I'm referencing. Thank you.
yeah. And so again, but Ash, like I said a second ago, man, I agree with you 1,000%. But again, it just comes back to money. When you're bringing in Chelsea, when you're bringing in Copa America and Real Madrid and all these teams to play in the Bank of America Stadium, you're gonna do that one time thing, because the amount of tickets that Real Madrid, the Copa America, that Chelsea, all these teams, when they come in, the amount of money that it's going to bring you, and not only that, but international and national exposure it brings you. You're going to do it for the money. But I agree, it sends the message of, hey man, this owner don't give a shit. Like if I was a Charlotte FC player and I seen that, I know what my feelings would be. It'd be like, man, this guy don't give a shit about us, man. We're pawns. We're making him money, and it is what it is. I mean, I'm glad that we have the fan base that we do. I'm glad that we have probably, and obviously I'm biased, but I think we have one of, if not the best fan bases in all of MLS. And I think that, realistically, if the owners got what they deserve, not a single fucking person will show up and watch anything time, we love this club. We do as fans and as as people who are a part and affiliated with this club. We love them. We're going to be there to support them no matter what. We're going to show up for them, even with the increase of ticket prices, the increase of concession prices, paying 15, 16, however much it is for a beer. We do that specifically to support these players, or at least I do. I can't speak for everyone, but I can speak for myself, and that's why I take my son. That's why I'm affiliated and try to cover this club, and so. But again, at the end of the day, I do agree with you. I think that David he has his own monetary gain in forefront for him. But real quick, getting back to the game, I want to kind of get y'all's thoughts on this. Um, we touched on it earlier, but and again, Dino said in the press conference afterwards that Kerwin, the past couple of days had the boot off, was looking good, but he played, in my opinion, he was electric all night, and specifically in the first half. He was finding open areas. He was putting his service was really good into the box. What y'all think about Kerwin's performance tonight?
If you told me that leading up to this match, I would have said you were crazy.
Right?
Yeah, same thing. Same thing.
I thought he was excellent today. If I had to have one criticism or really small nitpick, it would just be maybe work on his accuracy for crosses. But again, that's just me being extremely, extremely critical of him. I thought he had an excellent game today.
Yeah, I agree, and I think that I was intrigued to see how Breck looked on opposite, and I thought it was interesting to drop Tavares for that or for Breck, but again, or not to move Tavares for that. But my thing is Breck misses the sitter, Tavares misses the penalty, and we got I think it was you Ash earlier that said we've got to start finishing our chances, and if this is an 11-man Columbus team and you miss those chances.
All right, let me say something. Fuck Columbus, dude. Overrated.
I don't know. Again, like I
Yep,
said,
agreed.
Lucas,
I mean,
Completely agree.
I agree. I agree that it's fuck Columbus. I agree with that. It's hard to say they're overrated when they're the reigning MLS Cup champions and they hadn't lost a game until tonight.
Hey, we're gonna be next season, dude. Ain't nothing.
I wish I was on
Yeah,
Luke's
maybe
level,
if
to be completely honest with you.
maybe if Dino convinces Jack Grealish to come to us, maybe I'll believe that.
Yeah, I mean, dude. In all seriousness, if we get a DP number 10 in the summer transfer window, and we bring in somebody, specifically in that 10 role, I just, I like Brecht. Don't get me wrong, but I have been critical of Brecht in these past few weeks. He has a goal, he has an assist, So is it me nitpicking? I don't. Again, I'm one person. I see it from my point of view, but the vision is what I'm not saying he doesn't have the technical ability. He has the technical ability on the ball. He has the technical ability off the ball. My concern is his vision as in a cam position where he can open up those spaces for a Kerwin Vargas or for Enzo or Big Pat or whatever. But another debutant I want to talk about that got to play, a good bit tonight. Well, not debutant, but who's seen limited minutes is Yao Pedro. What y'all think on Yao Pedro's performance tonight?
I thought he was pretty good. I just think Uranen is on a different level, and I think we did
Yeah.
miss him a lot today. But I think if Yuri Uranen needs to come off or is tired during a game or needs to take a rest, I think we got a good backup in João Pedro right now.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. I think Euronen is obviously cemented himself in that role. It was funny in the press conference after the game. Dino, he was asked about Euronen and why he didn't start, and he said, well, he flew back economy last night, so and if you know anything about jet lag and flying economy and all that stuff, that's a pretty damn good reason to let the man you just have a night and chill out. He was joking around, but I mean, it is true. I mean, the jet lag. You go train with Finland. He didn't play for Finland. He didn't book a minute for Finland in their game. But you come back and it's again. I don't think Yao Pedro had a bad night at all. I haven't looked at any sofa scores or foot mob ratings or anything like that. But Yao Pedro to me didn't have a bad night, and I agree with Ash. I think that he's a very serviceable backup, and I think that I think the back line looked decent. I think Malanda had another good game. I think Nathan Byrne had another good game, definitely getting forward. I think Tavares was kind of in his head, specifically after the miss. The second half, he wasn't the same. His touches were off a little bit. He had some heavy touches, specifically going into the box. He had a couple of times. One specifically comes to mind where a ball was played in over the top, and if he brings it down, he's got a good look at goal. But it's just a heavy touch. Glad to see Patrick open his account once again. And again, 3 points, 7 points. We're sitting on 7 points going into Cincinnati coming in here next week. And I feel good about us being at home. Joe, I got a quick question for Joe. Joe, did you thoughts on Pekovic when Pekovic came in? He had the opportunity that was in the box. He got called for a foul. Again, I was sitting in the press box, so I didn't see a foul, but was that a foul on his miss?
I could tell you from watching the broadcast, there was no foul. It was not even close to a foul. I don't know what the ref saw. It was nowhere near a foul.
I agree with Ash.
Yeah,
nowhere close.
Yeah, I seen that.
I was saying it was nowhere close to a foul. And just to answer your question quick, I thought when Pekovic came on, he definitely added some energy on the pitch. And it was good to see that. I think I'd like to see more of him. It seems like we haven't seen enough of him yet, but I guess that's going to come. Yeah. It's a long season, we're 5 games in, so we'll see him at some point. And I just wanted to circle back for a second because I know we've been kind of getting on Brecht a bit. I think the Brecht question is going to go away when the summer comes, and if Zoran can bring in a number 10. If he could bring in a good number 10, I think Brecht sits on the bench and comes in to spell that player, to close out a match. And we don't see some of the things that we're seeing with Brecht right now.
Yeah, and I'll be honest with you. This is just my opinion. I get kind of roasted for this opinion, but when Ben Bender comes back and he is fully match fit, I think Ben has a nose for goal. I think he showed it in his the inaugural season, and then obviously last season when he wasn't hurt and he was playing. The dude has a nose for goal. I mean, obviously Latanzio is a different ball game. The dude would score a brace and then go sit the bench, so it was just mind-boggling. But I think if Ben gets consistency, definitely with Dino and how Dino likes to develop young players, and I think that Ben realistically will be pushing for that spot if he's back healthy. And again, I don't know how much. I think Ben puts that chance away tonight. Let me just say. I mean, but again, I don't know what was going on, and I understand that it's the ball's on you, and you're in front of 30,000. But dude, that's what you're getting paid to do. You got to put the ball away when I open net, and all you got to do is just hit it first time. You're 4 feet from the goal. It's an open goal. It happens to everybody. And Dino did say that in the press conference after. Hey, it happens to everybody. Erling Haaland a few weeks ago missed an absolute sitter, a very similar position, and it happens. But you have to come back and get it out of your head and come back and but at the same time, you want to see that in games like these, we're lucky that Columbus was down to the 10 men, because next week against Cincinnati, you miss those chances, you're probably going to be punished for it in all reality.
Hey, Cole, let's jump in and hear from the Queen's Pitch.
Hello, It's me. I'm just going to have to say that I agree on Brecht. I'm done with him at this point. I think if we're paying someone that much money, then I need to be able to count on you, and he's let us down a couple times this season already, and we're only 5 games in. So, and I agree about Bender. I think that when Bender comes back, he'll be able to help us out a lot. And Dean actually enjoys or he was talking about Bender being like a like a younger Bronico. So as far as workhorse ability, so I think Dean actually really likes Bender as well. I don't know. I'm just done with Breck. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and it's tough because. No, go ahead.
Sorry, I just want to make a quick point on Ben Bender. I am praying to God that Dean Smith plays him in a number 10 and not on the wing. I love Ben Bender, but playing him as a left winger does not work in any shape or form. Ben Bender's best position is an advanced midfield position where he can sometimes drop into the box but still drop back and control the game and create chances. But yeah, he is not a left winger by any means at all. And I just hope that Dean Smith realizes that and plays him as a 10.
No, yeah, and I agree. I agree that he is definitely better fit centrally. I think we've seen that, before he got injured. Anytime he played centrally, he was a lot more dangerous. But yeah, I think, again, I hate being so tough on Brecht because he does have a goal. He does have an assist this season. The work rate's there. But again, I worry about his vision. I worry sometimes about the moment being just a little bit much for him. And I think, and obviously the missed opportunity tonight. But again, I want to get y'all's feedback on, in y'all's opinion. Again, we've touched on this. What Dean said as far as penalty takers, it's who's in form the week prior to the match, and and he said Tavares was in form. He was slotting away in practice. Do y'all think that should be the striker's job? Do y'all think that should be the captain's job? Or do y'all agree? Do y'all think that, it's whoever in training is slotting them away?
I mean, personally, I would like to see the 9 take it. Queen's Pets Bridget, what do you think?
I think there needs to be more of a leadership to take it. I mean, we've seen what happened, unfortunately, with Vargas, and then I just think that's a lot of pressure to put on someone like that. Even if he can do it in practice, that doesn't mean you can go in there in a game and make that shot.
Right.
So why can't we let our Westwood do it? I think if Ronan would have been in there, he would have took it. I mean, I don't know. But I don't know. I think that they should have someone that takes it at the beginning and say, this is the person that takes our PKs. I don't think we need to go off who's doing the best this week in practice. That's just my opinion.
I agree, and I saw I had to jump. I had to raise my hand to speak on this one. I finally had to get off the freaking sideline to jump in because I was disgusted. He's literally the 12th person I would have chosen out there to take the penalty, with myself being number 11. Yeah, coming off the sideline. I don't know how that happened. It should have been Patrick. It should have been Westwood. It should have been anyone other than the rookie who just subbed in 5 minutes ago. I was shocked. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, and I agree.
Sorry.
Go ahead, Ash. You're good.
Yeah, does anybody remember who our penalty taker was our first season? It was Christian Fuchs, and he was a damn center back. If you're not going to have the striker be the penalty taker, get one of the leaders on the team to be it. Get
Right.
Ashley Westwood. Westwood definitely would have buried that. If I don't give it to a rookie who is in his second home game in front of 30,000 people in his life. The amount of pressure that must have been on him is unfathomable. Don't put that on that kid's shoulders.
Yeah, and I agree 100%. I think that I tend to agree with Bridget. I think that realistically, I would like to see a leadership role. Ashley Westwood step up, but we asked Pat after the game, why, what is, would you have liked to take in the penalty? What? And Pat was like, yeah, obviously, I'm a striker. That's, I want to score goals. So, I mean, I would have liked to see Big Pat take it, or Ashley. But this is simple. I agree with Danny Brams 100%. I mean, to have somebody who just subbed on, and again, to take the penalty right before half, where you could have went in 1-0 up. And again, I get the thought process of, hey man, in training he's slotting at home, so you think, hey, when you gets up there in a game, it's going to be the same thing, but it's just a different. Penalties are so iffy, wishy washy. It's a mind game, and if you're not used to that and you're not used to that pressure on your shoulders, it can be it can be overwhelming for sure. And we've seen that again tonight.
I would love to kick it over to our MVP, Len Cornacchia. Len, what's up, buddy? What
Hey,
you think of the game tonight?
oh wow, what a wild game! I never saw a first half go like 63 minutes. That was pretty crazy. Here's what watching the game, it seemed to me that you can see that there's a big quality difference in a team like Columbus versus ours. I mean, that's something we can aspire to. Even with 10 men, they were still dangerous at times. However, we got the goals in the end. It took a couple of good quality moments, one by Westwood, obviously, and then Patrick just slammed that one home a couple of minutes later. But what I come away with is we've conceded 4 goals in 5 games. You can criticize all you want about the lack of being able to link up in the final third. And I've already seen posts about people complaining about our passing was horrendous. And while a lot of that is true, we are a much better defensive team than we were. And you can stay in games with a tight back 4. And I see things like Kerwin Vargas coming back and playing a lot more physical than he ever has. So I think Dean Smith has really kind of put his stamp on the team. Solid defensively, 4 goals. We're one of the best teams now in goals against. If we continue that, we are going to be just fine. It's going to take time for the rest of the team to gel. We still have one DP who's hurt, another one on the way, other players that have been injured. So we have reinforcements about to come in. And I think we've held our own pretty damn well, all things considered.
Yeah, and I'll echo what you're saying, Lynn. I agree, and it's just I think it's a testament to Dean with how this team looked last year. The amount of goals that they conceded, and definitely the amount of goals that we conceded, unfortunately, from leading positions. But to have your best defender, arguably, in your own and not playing tonight, and you stick Yao Pedro in there, and still come out with a clean sheet, and obviously with the caveat of being playing against 10 men, but to still come out with a clean sheet, only have 4 goals conceded this season. It's a testament. I think it's a testament to Dean, and I couldn't agree with you more.
Yeah, and we've had moments of brilliance. I mean, Westwood's goal was unbelievable. And if you go back and roll the tape on Ajimang's goal, the pass in from Gianni was unbelievable. What a great pass that was into him. So we showed flashes of it. And you're right. João Pedro in the back played a great game. We had flashes enough when we needed it. And unfortunately, Derek Jones helped us win a game tonight.
Yeah, that's what you wasn't. I don't think you were on, Lynn, but I said, I think it was the long game for DJ. He loves Charlotte so much that he said, I'm gonna go ahead and take Columbus down to 10 minutes, and Charlotte can get these 3 points. He loves the Queen City.
All right, hey, well, let me ask you guys a controversial question. Do we win this game if we have Enzo on the field instead of Pat?
Yeah, I think we do. And honestly, I think if Enzo's on the pitch, realistically, there's a couple of those chances. Look, I love Patrick Ajimang. I really do. And I think that Enzo's scoreless on the season in the matches that he has played. He's missed a couple of one-on-ones with the keeper. But I think that Enzo's hold-up play tonight would have been huge and instrumental. And I'm not saying Pat did a bad job. Pat is always criticized for his hold-up play. He didn't have a bad match, in my opinion, with his hold-up play. But with Enzo specifically, and then having the runners run off of him as far as like Kerwin, Tavares, Brecht, whoever it may be, I honestly think that I think we still win the game. I think they were down for 10 men for a long time, man. And that's a long time to hold on. And they, credit to them. They went all the way to the 82nd minute holding on and still looking dangerous at times. That they're one of the best, not just in MLS, in the world at beating the press. And they literally, they're going to be dangerous regardless. And, we handled it. We still, again, you have a clean sheet and you put 2 past them to get 3 points. You never can complain when there's 3 points.
All right, well, hey, Cole, let me go ahead. I'm going to kick it around the table. we're going into a week against Cincinnati where we potentially have more of our roster available than we've had all season, plus a new DP coming into the fold with Abada at the wing and Enzo possibly available, come back from injury, as well as our entire roster from today's game. There's a common idiom in soccer that you do not change up a winning squad. So let me kick it around the table. What changes would you put in place for the next game, Joe Garcia?
Well, obviously, Yere is going to be back at his spot on the left, so we know that. We hopefully will be seeing Liel in his first match next week, starting. I think that would be a huge boost for the team with his skill level. And if Enzo's back, I think Enzo should be starting. Obviously, as long as the staff deems that he can go at the match, and Vargas starts on the left. And I think those are the changes overall.
Yep, Bridget, do you have anything? Or
I think that I would definitely put Euronin obviously back in to where he's at. I keep Enzo out. I'm not sold on him. I like Ajamon up there. Definitely wouldn't start Brecht at all. And that's about. I like everything else. I think Ashley actually pulled his weight this week, so I'm excited about that. And I like Diani. So definitely would change up Euronin and then take Brecht out.
Yeah, just so you know, me putting Enzo back isn't a knock on Pat. I think Pat had a really good match tonight, but I want to see our DP in the match. Our two DPs in the match. They need to link up if we're going to be successful this season, continued success, and get some more scoring on the sheet for us. I think it's going to be important for them to hook up as soon as possible.
Oh, I agree. I mean, if we're paying those people that much money, they do deserve to play. But I'm just not. I don't know if Enzo is at the point where he's. I just don't. I don't have faith in him. I think he can go out there and be a workhorse, but I don't know if he can go out there and be our scorer.
Well, there's definitely something to be said for Enzo, who has not scored a goal this season, versus some of our other players who have. He wasn't part of the lineup that beat the reigning MLS champs. Let's cue it over to Len. Len, what changes would you make to the lineup, if any?
Yeah, I would, if Capetti is back and healthy, I kind of agree with Joe. I think that you've got to give him a chance to play with Vargas and especially if Abada's going to be in. I mean, he is our DP. I get what everybody thinks about him, but I still think he does a lot more on the field or on the pitch than he gets credit for. And I think he doesn't have to be a 15 or 20 goal scorer for him to be extremely effective on this team. I would take him at 10 goals and a few assists and just allowing and creating for other players to come on and participate in the goal scoring too. So I think his experience, and he's got enough field savvy that I think he's just a little notch ahead of Patrick right now. I don't know if that'll last forever. But yeah, and then obviously Urinen in the back, and I think that's probably about it.
yeah, I'll jump in. I'll say that obviously Euronin's going to come in. I mean, we all know that. If Enzo's healthy, I think I agree. I think Enzo gets to start. I mean, if Abada is starting, then that obviously means that Breck, to me, would not be starting, or so it would be Kerwin and Abada. I would be interested. I guess. I mean, it's hard to take. I don't know how you take Diani out after his performance. And obviously, like I said, in the second half, you can see Tavares, his head was kind of going after missing that penalty, and it's going to take him some. Look, we know that the talent is there with him, but we've seen it already. But he's still young. He's still learning the system, and so I would agree. I would think that you bring Enzo back in if he's healthy. If Abada is able to go a full 90, let him go a full 90, have Kerwin and Abada. That attack is dangerous. Now all we need is that number 10 to be able to spread the ball out to them. But yeah, I mean, I think realistically the only change you should make is your own Enzo, and then if Abada's ready to go, you put Abada in.
All right, I think the last one was Ash. Do you have any changes to the lineup that you would make?
Yeah. I would start Abada right away. I think he's going to be too important for us not to start him.
All
I
right, I'm
would.
not hearing anything from Ash. So,
Can you hear me?
yeah,
No,
guys,
we
as
got
far as
Ash was talking.
we got
before.
Wait,
Ash.
can you hear
We
me?
got Ash. Yeah, we got
is that
Ash.
talking?
Yeah.
Okay, I can
So
hear all
yeah.
of you guys except Ash, but I will shut up and mute.
Yeah, I hear Ash.
Okay. But yeah, I would start Abada right away. I would also bring back Enzo because I love Patrick, but I think Enzo just offers something a little different than Patrick. And it just fits our style of play a little bit better. And then I would also keep Curran Vargas. For the midfield, I would put Westwood, Gianni, and I would actually bring on Junior Urso. I'm very disappointed that we didn't get to see him feature in today's game. I thought when he came on against Nashville, he completely changed the dynamic of the game. So I would be very interested to see a midfield of Westwood, Gianni, and Urso, and then leave the back four alone besides Ernan. I'd bring Ernan back immediately because, again, he's probably our best player currently.
Yeah. Yeah, and just real quick, I mean, I think that Junior Urso, I don't see anything from him that has warranted, him to be dropped, other than maybe just in training, Gianni is outperforming him or something like that. And obviously, Gianni's the more attacking, and Junior's the more, defensive midfielder. So I agree with you, Ash. I would love to see that midfield trio of Westwood, Gianni, and Urso, just to see how it looks. Because you're obviously going to have Ashley getting forward, and you'd have Gianni getting forward, and that gives you that holding in Junior Urso. Because I think Junior Urso has done nothing to warrant being dropped, and I don't think it's a testament to anything that he's done. I just think it's just depends on who you're playing, and if you're wanting to play a little bit more defensively, or if you're wanting to play a little bit more attacking. Which when you're at home, you're going to play a little bit more attacking.
Let's go ahead and wrap it up, guys. It's been a little while. Thoughts on Charlotte FC's season moving forward? How are we feeling? What's the vibe check now that we've had a second home game? Joe?
Overall, feeling good still. I will say that I would have been concerned if we dropped tonight's game, but they pulled it out. We have reinforcements coming in. Hopefully, guys will continually come back from injury. And, if they can keep playing the way that they are defensively, with the back line holding up the way it has been, I think that once we hit that summer window, and if we can snag a cam in the summer window, we're going to be looking really good. We've got 7 points out of the first 5 games. What did we have after the first 5 games last year? I don't remember offhand, but it wasn't 7 points, if I remember correctly. So I'm feeling really good this year.
Well, I'm feeling really good with my trialist kit that I just got customized tonight. So if you see trialist 24 out there, that is yours truly. Len, now that you've seen this game, what's your prediction for the rest of the season, or what are your expectations? Vibes? How are you feeling?
I'm feeling really good and positive. I think it goes back to conceding just 4 goals in 5 games against some good clubs. I know we were up a man tonight, but that's okay. We can only play the cards that are given to us. If we continue that defensive run and stay consistent, I think this team has a chance for getting 2 or 3 places up the table from where we finished last year.
Let me kick it over to Ash. Ash, how are you feeling about the team moving forward?
I'm still cautiously optimistic. I'm still a little unconvinced with the players that we have, but Dean Smith does give me hope that not only will we make it to the playoffs this season, I think we will make a better run into the season than we did last year. But I just want to end this Spaces with 3 words, and those 3 words are fuck Don Garber.
I second the motion. Let's get it over to the Queen's pitch.
I think that after the first half, I was not really sure what to think, but the fact that we won this game and the fact that we continue to pull it out in the second half, it wasn't like last year where if we were down in the first half or we weren't doing well, we just parked the bus and gave up. I think the guys have a drive and a will to continue to play it this year. And I think that has a lot to do with Dean Smith. And I liked Laddie last year, but I had no idea how great a real coach would be. And this year, it makes me feel like I think we have hope. I don't know if we'll go out and win the whole thing, but if our guys continue to play like this and Dean can continue to mold them, I think we can go a lot farther than what we thought.
Hey, Luke. Well, first, I just wanted to answer that question. So in 2023, it took Charlotte FC 9 matches to clear 7 points. And so this year they've done it in 5. So that should be encouraging for everybody. I think Ash is absolutely correct that the replacement referees have clearly created. They've I think if you want to look at this with a silver lining, they have birthed a new sport into the universe because we saw something for the first 80 minutes of tonight that was some sort of sport, but it was not soccer. And so, congratulations for bringing something new into the universe, Don Garber. And but once we started seeing soccer in the 80th minute or so, with 2 great shots from Westy and from Pat, I think it's uh, I enjoyed it. I still don't know what I saw tonight, but
No complaints, right?
I'll take those last 10 minutes over the last 10 minutes of any Charlotte FC match last year.
Yeah,
That's
I
fair.
hear that. Are there any final comments before we end the space for the night? Hey, congrats on the win, everybody. They didn't kick me out of the press conference, so it's a win for everybody, right?
Well, we didn't give you a seat either, Luke. So you have to sign up for press premium.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
fair. That's fair.
No, I mean, I just want to, kind of echo what everybody's saying. With Dean at the helm, it seemed it's just a different feeling, I guess. You expect to win no matter who the competition is, and I think that I mean, again, it's another 3 points, and you got 7 points on the season. Atlanta United, I don't know what the final score was. The last time I looked, Toronto was handling business against them, so that makes me happy. So all in all, for me, it's a pretty good Saturday.
We're gonna wrap up the spaces for tonight. I'm your host, Level Up Luke. I'm joined by we got the Queen City Soccer Shows, Cole Godfrey. We got the Queen's Pitch. We got Len Cornacchia. We got Soccer Sheet, Joe Garcia, Ash. So many MVPs have joined us tonight. I love you guys. I love this team. For the crown. We'll see you next week.
All right, folks, you made it this far. So as a little special bonus, I'm going to go ahead and include the Twitter Spaces that we recorded late Thursday night after the U.S. Open Cup first round. Crown Legacy suffered defeat at the hands of South Carolina United, an amateur side. Charlotte Independence was victorious on the road against the VE Club in Pennsylvania. We had Asheville City SC falling to 1 Knoxville. And Greenville Triumph was successful the night before against another South Carolina United team in Columbia. The USL Super League women's team announced their brand as the Carolina Ascent with a fantastic new crest. We had the U.S. national team emerging victorious after many trials and tribulations against shorthanded Jamaica side. And that's in the CONCACAF Nations League semifinal. They are going to be playing tonight in the championship against Mexico. So if you're listening to this on Sunday, go ahead and cheer on our national team. And yeah, let's kick it over to me from a few days ago.
All right, I'm Level Up Luke, and this is the X Twitter post-game reaction show. Let's go. I am joined today by Cole Godfrey, my co-host on QCS Pod. Cole, how are you doing tonight, my friend?
Can't complain. The Charlotte Independents get a 2-0 win to progress on in the U.S. Open Cup. The United States men's national team made it very, very, very difficult to enjoy anything there until the end, but they do end up advancing on into the Nations League final, beating Jamaica 3-1. Carolina Core comes back to beat who was it, Nova or whatever, 3-2.
Yeah, Northern Virginia.
Yeah, they were down 1-0 or 2-0, and come back and win 3-2, I believe it was. No, they were down 2-1. I'm sorry, and come back to win 3-2. The first goal that Carolina Core was absolutely hilarious. It was a goalie kicks the ball, it bounces off of a attacking player for the Core, and it bounces into the goal. But yeah, the big news of the night: Crown Legacy falling. What was it like over there in Matthews?
I'll tell you what, man. I came prepared after that first Charlotte FC game where the winds were howling and the weather was frigid. And I'll tell you, I think I barely needed a pullover. It got a little chilly, but really the weather wasn't too bad, but the shots were not falling. Crown Legacy, it seemed like every time they hit the ball, it just chipped up in the air. It was up, and away over the net every single time. And I'll actually kick it over to Joe Garcia, friend of the show. He was sitting right in my section. And Joe, what did you see?
Let's see. What did I see tonight? I saw a Crown Legacy team that, at least for most of the first half, seemed to take too long thinking with the ball. So a player would get the ball, they'd have it at their feet, and it wasn't a quick turnaround. It's like they were thinking every single time that they got the ball. There was no quick transition to get up the field. Let's see. We did have some nice chances. The PK that we had, I don't know what it is with Charlotte FC and Crown Legacy, but apparently we can't hit a penalty kick. But I mean, listen, South Carolina, they nailed their PK, and that was really the difference maker. I think that we had better and more chances all night long, but it was the PK that sunk us at the end at the end of the game.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like the referee, first of all, it was a female lead ref, which is awesome. So props to U.S. Soccer for a little bit of equality here. But I feel like she gave both teams an opportunity in stoppage time to make a penalty kick. And, I mean, the South Carolina United team was the one who did it, and Crown Legacy did not. So, I mean, the game unfortunately came down to that. All throughout the game, I thought Legacy had a better squad. I thought they had more productive, possessions. South Carolina could move the ball up and down on the wings, but they could never really convert their opportunities from the outside into good attacking chances. They had a few moments of brilliance, but overall, Crown Legacy looked like the more talented team. And based on the opportunities, the score should have been 3-1 going into stoppage time at the end of the game. Unfortunately, it was 0-0. And the team that came out ahead, each team got one penalty kick, only one team converted. So that was your game. I'm also seeing reports that Charlotte Independence has triumphed up in Pennsylvania 2-0. I'm seeing reports that the U.S. men's national team dropped a goal to Jamaica in the first minute. They controlled the entire rest of the game. And then I guess there was an own goal. Cole, can you tell me about the U.S. national game? What's going on in the CONCACAF Nations League, brother?
Yeah, so that's the two games that I had on. first off, just touching on the U.S. men's national team, it was like you said in the I think it was 40 seconds in, Jamaica gets the goal, and then they just sat in that low block with a five man back line the rest of the game, and it was just Joe Scully had a horrific game. Gio Reyna came in, played 75 minutes, got 2 assists. How he's not starting, it boggles my mind. Haji Wright gets two goals, both in extra time after scoring for Coventry City in the FA Cup. So I mean, the guy's having a phenomenal week. But yeah, in the 96th minute, literally the last kick of the game, Miles Robinson gets a header and it heads off of I can't remember the dude's name for Jamaica, but he heads it right into his own net and go to extra time, and that's when the U.S. really kind of took over and put it to bed. But as far as the Independence game, yeah, I watched the entirety of it. It was the Independence really dominated the game. It wasn't VE Club had a few chances there early in the first half, a couple of headers over the bar, but realistically, the Independents just absolutely controlled this game from start to finish. Cisse gets a goal. Belmar comes in, gets an assist and a goal. Super sub in the second half, and yeah, I mean, realistically, it could have been 4 or 5 to nothing, but credit to VE Club, they come out to play, and they were a very physical team, and the Independents move on in the Open Cup to round 2, so it's up the Jacks.
Survive in advance, baby. So are you telling me that my boy Miles Robinson, the player that I said that Charlotte should have spent DP money on to acquire from Atlanta United, was crucial in the scoring play that led to the U.S. national team winning the game today in the CONCACAF Nations League semifinal?
Yeah, believe it or not, he like I said, he had that I guess on goal assist, and then extra time he actually had a really good look that was headed over the bar. But yeah, Miles Robinson had a really good game. I think the lone MLS player out there on the squad. And then obviously, like I said, Carolina Core winning 3-2. They get the advance on as well.
Yeah,
And
that's wild because Northern Virginia brought in at least one pro to the team in like the week leading up to the game. So how was that Carolina Core game from what you saw?
yeah, from what I saw, I mean, Carolina Core went up early 1-0, and then fell behind 2-1, and then like I said, I had 2 laptops going, 2 screens on one laptop. On the TV had the men's national team. So I was literally bouncing back and forth watching Kentucky get beat in March Madness. So realistically, I just watched. It was the highlights that I was watching. But
My guy, you entered sicko mode, and I have the most respect for you. Oh my god, I'm so jealous. Like that is my optimal environment as a human being. Is like entering the quad screen sicko mode, going into the cave, and just watching all the sports on all the screens. Dude, that's inspirational. I love it.
yeah, like I said, I mean my wife's at work, so it's just me at the house. The kids are with their moms, so it was just me and the dogs and about 5 or 6 cold beers. Yeah, I mean, and then obviously there was some good games. I mean, the men's national team. I'm not going to lie, that game had me worried and had me fired up for probably the just about the entirety of the Independence game, the Chrome Legacy game. I'm a men's national team guy. Like that's initially how I fell in love with soccer in
Let's go,
2006. So
American Outlaws, baby.
yeah, I'm a part of the American Outlaws upstate chapter, the Greenville chapter here in South Carolina. So that was on the big screen for me. No, don't get it twisted. As I always say, I love Crown Legacy. I love Charlotte FC. But at the same time, I'm a men's national team guy. Like that's what had my full focus, along with the Independence. It's interesting being a Greenville Triumph supporter, but following the Independence so closely. I'm intrigued, man. I'd be intrigued to see the Independence and the Triumph get it in the second round. I think that would be a really cool matchup.
But yeah, man, I had a very interesting experience. Actually, a few anecdotal experiences tonight that I'd like to share. Before the game started, I got my kid with me, and um, I'm kind of balancing a few different things here, but I managed to stop on the field before the game, snap some photos, talk to some of the local journalists, and actually OpenCup.us that we interviewed on our last episode, they had their regional coverage by at soccer_Forest, and he's the local guy that covers the Carolinas and Georgia for OpenCup.us. He was telling me that Crown Legacy and South Carolina played, about 3-4 weeks ago in the preseason. South Carolina won the game, and they looked the better team. And I'm thinking, my goodness, that was a closed door friendly. I never saw the results of that. It must have been because Crown Legacy didn't win. And they kept most of their preseason games close to the vest. Yeah, we saw today they got lucky, and fortune favors the bold, and it seemed like they might have wanted it more. But that's 2 in a row for South Carolina, the amateur club over Crown Legacy, the D3 club. So very interesting storyline developing there. It was a great time. We had a great experience, but man, I can't help but regret. I feel like we dropped an opportunity here.
Yeah, and I'll say, being from South Carolina and having my son plays for Easley Soccer Club, so they play against South Carolina United academy teams, and actually have played in tournaments where the Triumph played yesterday in Columbia. So I'm proud for them guys. I'm happy for them guys. Obviously, I hate that it comes at the expense of Crown Legacy, but it's a huge achievement for them. So I'm not going to take anything away from them. The Bantams played really well against the Triumph last night, with the Triumph winning 1-0. But it's great to see. It's great to see that side advance to the second round, and what it means to not just SC United as an organization, but just to the state of South Carolina as well. I mean, you got 2 teams: the Greenville Triumph, SC United, and then obviously you'll have Charleston Battery come in the next round. So you have 3 teams from the state of South Carolina that'll be playing, along with Carolina Core and the Independents in North Carolina advancing on as well.
Yeah, and it kind of furthers the storyline about MLS Next Pro teams losing in this opening round. And you have to wonder, with this 1-year format with the Open Cup, is this going to lead to MLS rethinking their level of participation again going into next year? Because honestly, it seems like they've screwed themselves out of a chance of having an MLS team possibly repeat this year in the tournament. This may be the best opportunity that these lower level teams have to win a U.S. Open Cup in our lifetime.
Well, yeah, let's not forget that there is 8 MLS teams going to be entering this tournament later on in the tournament. So there's a really good chance that it's probably still going to be an MLS team that wins this thing. But just the simple fact that, I mean, there's definitely a better shot. Make no mistake about it. I mean, for the the USL Championship and the USL League One teams to have to bring home some hardware for sure.
The one thing I will say, I did take a peek at the announcement for Carolina Ascent, the USL Super League, the women's team, and
Yeah, let's go.
that
Let's go.
the colors on the patch look real sweet. I'm just curious what their jersey is going to look like. I'm sure they're incorporating those colors. That could be something that'll be really a nice get. Um, but yeah, that'll be
Yeah,
interesting to see.
yeah. I seen the breakdown of the crest, and having the the star for the state of North Carolina flag, and then the crescent moon for the state of South Carolina flag in it. Man, it's incorporated in there with the Blue Ridge Mountains and the various lakes that are in the Carolinas. I'm excited. I'm ecstatic for it. We do got Columbus coming up this Saturday for Charlotte FC. Columbus are top of the table. They're the defending MLS Cup champions. They are in quite a phenomenal form coming into this match. But we are back at the bank. We are back at the keep. So anything could happen, but we are missing Euronin, who obviously has had a great couple of weeks for Charlotte FC. I'm very intrigued to see how Dino comes out with his lineup and how he attacks this game because I'll be completely honest with you, man. I don't know. I truly don't know what to expect. This is the first time, realistically. I mean, obviously, I think we see Big Pat up top again. I don't think that would be quite a shock to anybody, but at the same time, Kerwin's hurt. Um, Nick Scardino trained with the team this morning, so obviously you don't know. I mean, is he going to be incorporated? Is he going to get minutes for Charlotte FC? It's going to be a very interesting lineup and substitutions that Dino gets to make this weekend.
Of course, I want us to win, but I can accept the loss knowing how shorthanded we are already, and especially now with the Vargas injury, the fact that we're not going to have Jere Urinen and still another week without our new DP, and they'll be back for the following match for Cincy, which is great. But like you said, I mean, Columbus looks like they're in really good form, man, and they're going to be a tough match. Hopefully, our defense stays strong, and if we, hopefully they can keep the game close. I could see with Scardina is I could see him starting the game. I don't know. I don't know if Dean will start Berchimus. I could see maybe Nick getting the start in place of Vargas, and then Berchimus coming in to spell either uh, uh, Jose Tavares or Berchimus, whichever one needs it. Um, I could see Diani starting again. I thought Diani had a really good game last week. Brecht will be starting again. Also, you could have Arfield come off the bench to play wing if necessary, depending on how he builds the midfield for this match.
Yeah, and like you said, it's going to be a tough out. I do think there's a way. Listen, there's a reason the game's played on the field and not on paper. But it's going to be a tough match for sure. It looks like it's going to be an absolute pissing down rain. So keep that in mind if you're headed out to the match. That it's more than likely going to be a wet one out there, and on turf that that makes
Hey,
that makes for a very fast ball.
Cole,
Yeah,
yeah, if you don't mind, let me just shout out to our friends at the Charlotte Soccer Show. Like, I mean, it's gonna be pissing down rain. You might as well pregame at Hopfly because that's gonna be a covered venue with a DJ. So shout out to our man Stanley Brams. I think we have him on the speaker list now. If you want to tell us a little bit about the pregame plans, buddy.
What's up, Luke? Cole Joe, just saying, hey, man, I was just listening, and so I thought I'd jump in just to give you guys a break since you were doing all that talking. And yeah, I mean, we'll definitely be at Hot Fly pre-game. The tailgate will probably end up being indoors, yeah, because of weather. But I think the weather will be, and definitely want everyone to show up there for sure. We're gonna have a good old time. Um, but I think the weather, hopefully, will be. The rain is supposed to be dead by kickoff, right? We don't expect too much rain for the game as long as there's no delay. It should be all good.
I'm not sure actually. The
I've
last
seen
time I looked,
conflicting reports.
yeah, I was about to say the last time, one time I looked, it said it's supposed to be out by like 4 p.m. One time I looked and said it was supposed to be raining like 6, 7 o'clock. So I don't know. And
Yeah,
meteorologist,
you never know that
it's the one
weather.
job.
Yeah.
It's the one job where you can be wrong and keep your job.
I mean, I don't know. The biggest fear I have is Derek Jones coming back in and playing against us. To be honest, that's
Good.
one big worry I have. But we'll see. They're good. Columbus is gonna be tough. I'm not expecting a ton. I'm just glad that we'll be back at home. You know, it'll be fun to watch a match from the home stands, and I'd like to see us show some fight. I think we can get points, but it's just tough to anticipate that we actually will.
Yeah, I agree. And like Luke said, Crown Legacy is also going to be playing Columbus Crew 2. So, another tough match for Crown
Hate
Legacy
them.
coming off. Yeah, for sure. And coming off 2 losses back to back. They got the point in against Carolina Core, but losing the penalty shootout. And then obviously tonight. What do you think about that? What do you think about that match?
About the Legacy 2, Legacy versus Core 2, Club Crew 2.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be a little bit of a blood match. I'm based on the playoff loss last year. I don't know if any of y'all were at that, but I think I don't know how much turnover Crew 2 has had, but obviously Legacy's had a ton of turnover. This is not the. I'm not sure this Legacy team is going to be sending 4 dudes to the first team this time next year as last year's Legacy team did. I'm not,
Yeah,
not to put too much
I'll
pressure on them, but it's
co-sign
not
that.
exactly the same group as my takeaway from
I
tonight
mean,
and Sunday.
hey, DB, we might send a goalkeeper. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, well, Odunze, yeah, for sure. He would be my only choice from what I saw tonight to think to have a shot at making the first team in this season. But we'll see. Maybe Romero. Romero looked okay. Maybe
I was
Cantu.
gonna ask. How did Romero look tonight? I didn't get to watch the whole game.
Lot of action. Lot of action. He had one nice dribble. He did put a guy on the ground once with a nice little cutback, but
I
nothing
mean,
really.
the
No real
biggest thing with
threat.
Romero is like his size, though.
If you're good enough, you're tall enough. If I can paraphrase Dean Smith.
I don't know, man. Like, I mean, he looks like noticeably like a foot smaller than the other guys out there. So I know he's making up for it with speed and aggression, but that can only take you so far. And I'm really gonna need to see a little bit more like presence out of him. Can't body guys,
That
can't intimidate them. But I mean, I think there's a lot of potential. He's got to grow a little bit though into his play.
just to play devil's advocate there, Luke. The technical ability makes up for it. I mean, obviously, Lionel Messi is a tiny guy. Antoine Griezmann's a tiny guy, but the technical ability that and not saying obviously Brian Romero is definitely not on their levels at all, but if he can harness that technical ability, and not to mention that he's still very very young. So I'm just he's got to get the minutes. See, when he does get the minutes of Crown Legacy, put in good shifts. But I do agree, and it's the same thing for Nympha as well. I mean, Nympha, he's got the technical ability. The difference for Nympha though is Nympha's got the pace.
Well, yeah, let me just throw out one more thing. Like press conference today, I've had some stupid luck the past week. I really should play the lottery. So I park my car in Nashville and I go over to Broadway to enjoy the sights and sounds. And as soon as I turn the corner, I'm walking less than a block later, I run straight into the Charlotte FC players as a group. So that was a really cool experience. And then I go to a comedy show the other night. And as I sit down a few minutes before the show starts, everybody's filing in. Corner of my eye, I'm like, hey, wait, I know that guy. And I turn and look behind me. Dean Smith sits directly behind me at the comedy show. And I'm just like, Gaffer, hey.
I've never had that kind of luck in my life to where just running into the team. You were sending me these pictures over text, and I'm just sitting here like, man, this is the luckiest guy on. I think I literally was like, you motherfucker.
It never happens, man. It never happens to me. It's why it's ever since I started working with you, bud. All the luck is coming from you. But no.
The only luck I have is bad luck, my friend.
Hey.
So when I was watching the Nashville game with, like I said, I watched it with Jamie Smith. We were talking at halftime because he was just talking about how horrible the officiating was.
Yeah,
And
it was. It
I
was
was like,
terrible. And Dean reiterated that today. He hammered the refs again in the press conference today. Dino versus the refs is a celebrity beef of all time. I love it.
yeah, it was just funny because I was like, I asked him straight up. I was like, dude, like, so after games, like, how quick do you talk to your dad? Like, is it one of those things where like
Yeah.
he gives you a call and he's like, no, usually he said if it's a win, I'll hear from him pretty quickly.
Yeah.
He said if it's a loss, I'll wait till the next day. He said, but I can promise you, he will have some very choice words about the refs. He's like, dude, but I'm telling you right now, he keeps me on the ground laughing, and he always has since
Let's
I was a
go.
kid. So that's the type of guy
That's
you want,
fantastic. What storylines are you looking at moving forward? Because after tonight, we have some drama, we have some development with, Charlotte FC's organization being knocked out of the U.S. Open Cup, MLS insisting on MLS Next Pro teams being entered into the tournament, and now them having a very poor record. We have, the U.S. Open Cup itself with amateur teams having perhaps more cup sets than like at any point of all time. We have Charlotte FC coming back from a 3-game road trip, jumping into the Columbus game at home against the defending league champs, projected first team in the league. There are so many storylines going on. Independence wins against VE Club, who we were told was going to give them a run for their money with 3,000 in attendance. I haven't seen the game yet, but it sounds like Independence really bodied them, and they should as an amateur team versus a USL1 team. The honor was to get to this stage of play and like host this game. I'm very disappointed that it wasn't a home game for them. Obviously, it should have been at their home venue, but there's a lot of stuff going on. Hey, I got one more anecdotal story for you in terms of storylines. Man, I saw a group of South Carolina United shirts in the supporter section, the Crown Legacy supporter section. And
Yeah.
so I walked back to them and I'm like, hey, what's up? What's going on, you guys? I just want to like, hey, you have South Carolina United shirts on. What's up with your club? Like, tell me about them. None of them could tell me about their club, but they're all like, yeah, we just joined like in the past week or two. And the dude says, I got brought in from the VE Club up in
Oh, wow.
Pennsylvania. And we're playing your other pro team from Charlotte tonight, like right now. And I said, oh, I know, brother. I know. And he goes,
Yeah.
oh shit, yeah, there was this podcast that was talking shit about us like last week. Oh, I know all about it.
I was right there in the middle of it.
And he goes, are you that guy we were talking shit about in our group chat? I guarantee you, I am the guy you were talking shit about in your group chat. And he says, oh my God,
me.
oh my God, oh my God, we need to take a picture together. And like he grabbed me in for a selfie. And then he pulled up his group chat, which I'm gonna say, as he's scrolling through it, looked like a hilarious group chat. So like props to this dude, like a lot of comedy on that group chat. And then he finally gets up and it's literally my post from Twitter last week. And I was like, man, your website says you're a summer camp. What do you want from me? Like I'm a little bit of an internet troll. It's all in good fun, but I'm trolling. And a lot of people took that very seriously. I also interviewed your coach, and he goes, oh, you know Robbie? And I'm like, yeah, check out our podcast feed for an interview with your friend Robbie. Because I was texting him earlier today. Like, it's it's all good. I love soccer in the US. I want to grow it. I love grassroots.
Yeah. Well, see, I mean, my thing is like even tonight, they kept saying like I was trying to find their roster, dude. Like I was legitimately trying to find their roster, and I could not find it anywhere. I
googled the VE Club and I came up with it's a summer camp. And like, hey, if you think I'm not going to play off of that immediately, you are grossly mistaken because I will take that and run with it, my friend.
But hey, man, if they had beaten Charlotte Independence tonight,
woof.
Oh my God.
I was scared. I was legit scared, like because it seemed like a mismatch for us. Like going on the road against a team that was that motivated, and they were saying that we're gonna put like 3,000 spectators in the stands at this high school venue. Like I was nervous.
Yeah. Well, you had nothing to be nervous about. The Independents took care of business quite easily.
Hell yeah. All right, well, let's sign off. I'm Level Up Luke.
Yeah, and I'm Cole Godfrey. Thank y'all for tuning in, and we'll see y'all next time.
Peace.
See ya. So he said he's just going to end the spaces with 3 words, and that is "fuck Don Garber." So